So, in Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, you have a full-on menu for your upgrades, and in this video we're going to go through the ones that I think are the most important, especially when you first start playing the game. So, having a look at the different upgrades, you can see there are bars that go around them, and I've got 5 points in damage and 5 points in XP for an example. And I do feel these two are by far the most important. You're going to want damage to deal more damage to enemies, which is going to make your runs easier. And at the same time, you're going to want to increase your XP gain, because not only is that going to help you level up and increase your damage, but it's also going to help you get like weapons to level 12 for an example, so that you can start unlocking their different overclocks and other things that are available for them. So if we take a brief look at each of them, I'll go through whether I think they're important or not. And starting off with your damage, as I said, very, very important. When it comes to your movement speed, I'd probably put 5 levels into this. Like, as you make enough progress to have the right resources and the credits. Because when it comes to the Dreadnought at the end of each run, you're going to need that movement speed because it does a leap attack that deals a lot of damage. Then when it comes to the armor, this is optional, but it is going to decrease the amount of damage you take from all sources, so it can be quite helpful in your runs. When it comes to your max health, that's pretty good to start runs as well, especially when you start moving up the different difficulties. Like, for an example, going from Hazard 1 to Hazard 2 can sometimes be quite a steep curve, so therefore increasing your max health can also increase your survivability and help the runs become a little bit easier. When it comes to increasing your chances to get a critical hit, I wouldn't worry too much about the points early on, because you can get upgrades during your run to do this. And not only that, it's only going up by 1% each time, so after 10 levels, which is going to be really, really expensive resource and credit-wise, you're only going to get a 10% chance. Then also when it comes to reload speed, it can be really, really handy, but you can get upgrades during your run that are going to help out. Not only for your reload speed, but for leveling up your weapon and getting closer to the overclocks. So it's just not that important of an upgrade. I would definitely much rather put my points into other areas. And then mining speed can also be looked at as kind of like a movement speed, because as you're mining through rocks, the more you have this leveled up, you can see it goes up 2% each level. The faster you're going to get through the rocks, the faster you'll get resources, and the quicker you can make new paths to get yourself away from enemies. Then when it comes to luck, this is a really, really good stat in the game. It makes it more likely to get higher rarity upgrades, which is going to be the difference between getting maybe 15% damage increase to getting something like 35%. So upgrading your luck, I wouldn't prioritize it, but it's definitely one that I would put at least a couple of points into early. Then when it comes to your pickup radius, granted it can be incredibly helpful in the middle of a run. You can get upgrades for it in a run, but I wouldn't prioritize it even though it has a 4% increase each level, because it's just not that important when you're comparing it to things like XP gain, extra health, and also damage. Then when it comes to life regeneration, I've put a few points into this. I'm probably going to put a couple more before turning my focus elsewhere, because it's nice to have that health regen. But I wouldn't put it too high, because there are some artifacts that are going to give you, for an example, when you collect red sugar, it increases your maximum health. And if you've got a lot of life regen, you don't have a huge amount of max health, you're always at full health, you can't pick up those red sugar cubes, you can't get extra max health, and it makes that artifact completely pointless. So I'd put a few points into the first aid kit to increase your life regen a little bit, but I wouldn't go over the top with it, especially in the early hazard levels. And then the exact same as the crit hits with the crit damage. Yes, granted this goes up 4% each level, but you can get this during your runs. It's quite a high percentage in the middle of runs from upgrades. So I wouldn't worry about it early on, putting points into it and stuff. I would just leave it with the crit hits and focus on other areas that are going to increase your survivability and your DPS a lot more. If you're using the Scout, you're going to start with a 5% crit chance and 200% crit damage anyway. So I just wouldn't say it's massively important to focus on those. So that was a look at the upgrades in Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, the ones I believe you should be putting points into first, the more important ones in the game. And what we're going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about the upgrades in the game in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. Thank you for watching.